My name is Geanne van Arkel, and I'm really honored that I have been asked to moderate this session, because if we talk about the Sustainable Development Goals, that is my personal ambition to drive a sustainable development and accelerate. And actually this whole conference is about that topic, so really great to participate. I would like to introduce to you our panel members of this session. Let's start with Torben Kwakkenbos, together with Rob van Tulder. They are actually the most important people visible at this point in time around the topic of bridging the gap between intentions and realizations regarding to the Sustainable Development Goals. And they really developed a great tool called the Better Business Scan. Yuri van Alteren is the director and founder of Change Inc. And I think if you talk about bridging gaps between people, businesses, ideas for sustainability, I can't think of a better platform than Yuri has been building. So yeah, really happy to have you here. So great that you are joining us as well, Rob. No point in introducing you because people have heard you both yesterday and tomorrow, and I'll give you the floor being last in, if it's okay with you.
Sure.
I really like to introduce Elske de Jong. She is from Arcadis, and yeah, with your ambition as Arcadis, improving quality of life, contributing to a better world or creating a better world, yeah, that's all possible within the world of Arcadis. So looking forward on how you are working on that as an organization and how you are bridging the gap between intention and realization. And then we have experts from the field in supporting companies in bridging that gap. Ulrike de Jong and Esther de Graaf from Tosca, which is a tribe of sustainability change agents. Now, I think we have a great group of people driving the transition and driving systems change here. But I really would like to pass on to Rob to introduce a little bit more of the topic. And Rob, you asked me to create a poll, and I don't see the results yet, but I have asked the people whether they could answer the question in the poll section. Do you experience a gap between the intention of your organization to contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals and the actual realization? So if you go to the poll, you can click on that.
Yep.
Rob, can you introduce the session of today?
Yes, thanks, Geanne. Really, sorry I was a bit late because I was still listening to the Prime Minister of South Korea. But he finished, and he also comes to the same conclusion. We need to have action, we speed up, and the intention is higher than the realization. So
everybody agrees with you, Rob.
I think so.
The audience, 88% says yes, there is this gap.
Okay. So what to do? Today's main theme is walking the talk, and we also at the Rotterdam School of Management have found that it's not a lack of ambition, but a lack of smart implementation strategies that withhold companies from seizing the full potential of sustainability in general. Even the easy targets, by the way, let alone the Sustainable Development Goals. So, but key is that companies don't know where they exactly stand, and thus have problems in defining and designing adequate transition strategies. So this is important because there's lots of ambition and CO2 reduction and whatever, but where do you stand now, and how then become a smarter strategist? That was reiterated also in the panel. So Torben and I at the Rotterdam School of Management and the department and a number of students also, we developed an open access tool that does exactly that. This is called the Better Business Scan. So Torben will introduce the tool and report about the first results of the tool as we launch it together with Yuri, who is here now, with Change Inc., the online platform for sustainable entrepreneurs in the Netherlands. And we piloted also with Geanne and other companies. So we're very committed to this not only, but also very certain that it is a helpful tool. So I give the floor to Torben, who's going to give a presentation on what actually this whole thing means for those who don't know it yet.
Yes, thanks. Timo, could you share the slides?
Of course.
We only have 4 slides. No.
Yeah, so just a few, maybe a bit small because we're with many people. Well, otherwise I will just start. No problem. Thanks for your introduction, Rob. Indeed, we developed the Better Business Scan to help companies in walking the talk, so that perfectly aligns with today's topic. And our scan basically starts with the premise that the transition to a sustainable business model starts with the intentions to become sustainable. However, at the same time, we also know that good intentions are not always realized in your personal life or within your company. And for your company, it's important that you develop the right and sophisticated management interventions. And developing these interventions starts with knowing where you want to be and where you currently are. And this gap is what we try to address with the Better Business Scan. And this starts with a relatively easy to answer set of questions, which take you around 50 minutes. And we don't ask for quantifiable, often a bit misleading outputs such as CO2 emissions. But what we do is we ask you about the considerations and the motives behind your business model. And this allows us to map the extent to which your ambitions are realized in your present business model. And based on that, we provide you with advice on what strategic steps you could take next. And we do this with a set of algorithms we developed, which create more than 30,000 different reports. So we make sure that the advice is really geared towards your specific situation. And the focus in this advice report is on 3 topics. So first, what's the decision route of your company? Where are you heading? Secondly, which internal barriers are you going to experience and how can you overcome them? And finally, which leadership styles could you adopt to accelerate change? And already more than 1,200 managers of 700 companies in the Netherlands use this scan, which means we have quite a rich data set which represents the Dutch economy. So based on these insights, we like to share 2 points with you today. And the first one is that we really see that companies face a fundamental challenge. A lot of companies are still or mostly reactive in the sustainability approach, and they try to become more active. And often this means that they have to develop internal capabilities. So now they are often waiting for, there are the slides. I think we can go to the 3rd slide. Yeah, yes, one back, and then it's perfect. Yes, thanks. So a lot of companies are making the decision, so they're developing internal capabilities, but at the same time, they are still a bit reactive, which means that they react to stakeholder pressure or wait for governments to interfere. And real leadership for the SDGs, which is the topic of this conference, requires that companies make internal transitions. Even front-runner companies mainly face internal challenges. But there's good news. We see intentions are there. Most companies have very high ambitions. The SDG agenda helps to guide these companies into the right directions. And we also try to do this with the Better Business Scan by providing the right management tools, the right focus, and smart interventions. So as we also put on the slides, a lot of business schools in the Netherlands are already using this tool, which is great, but at the same time, we also wanted to expand because it was only available in Dutch. And today we launched our website, betterbusinessscan.org, and now everyone worldwide can access our tool in English. On the website, you will find the tool. We focus on different target audiences, so for managers, employees, but we also adapted it for students or consultants, so they can use the external view of a company and analyze it from their perspective. And on the website, you also find more information about the scan theoretical model, how we develop it, because we try to be transparent about that. And when we go to the final slide to close off the introduction of the scan, we also experienced that for some companies or organizations, just the advice support was not enough. They wanted more guidance. So together with a few people that are also present here, we started to develop some new initiatives. One of them are the company scan and the workshops, where in one-day sessions, we help companies on certain topics, but also the next step towards 2030 program, which is a one-year program to integrate the SDGs into your business model. And that's also something we're very excited about. We might talk about that in this session and otherwise in the booth. Yeah, this was just the introduction to the Better Business Scan, so we're all on the same page, and hopefully we will have a fruitful discussion now.
Thank you very much, Torben, for your introduction. And the site looks really beautiful. I already shared it in the chat so people can follow up later after the session. But I also know that Yuri van Alteren from Change Inc. from the start has been joining you as a partner because he truly believes that companies need insight in the difference between their intentions and the realization. Why do you think so, Yuri? Why did you feel it was so important to develop this company scan?
Well, what you see and what Torben already mentioned is that there are a lot of intentions. I don't think there's anybody on this earth who wants to do the bad thing, and they want to do right, and they want to do good. So intentions are very good, and then they start working, and with lots of passion within the companies, they start working on sustainability topics. But there was not enough guidance, I think, that on how to start, how to follow up, and how to get the most output out of it. So that's one thing. And I have a media platform and a big community. We reach hundreds of thousands of readers every month, and we saw that whenever there's a digital scan, then it's being delivered to earn money out of it. So deliver a scan and get people involved, and then ask them for money to get a consultancy phase or something like that. And then I met Rob, and we decided to just put the scan, which is based on a very interesting theoretic framework of Rob. Just put it out there, make it digital, and make it reachable for every company involved, and get insights from there on you can use to start working from there, get help from for instance people from Tosca, and then work from there to get yourself putting results out there. So that's one thing. On the other hand, what I found very interesting is that I have a lot of journalists working, and they always thought it would be interesting to get the most innovative subjects or the most innovative technologies out there, and that it would reach and inspire all the readers we have every day. But we found out that when you're in the starting point of becoming a sustainable company, then you get tired of hearing always the examples of Elon Musk and the future-based innovations, and you want to get insights on how you can start tomorrow instead of just working and reaching a goal that is light years away. So we want to give the insights on how you can start tomorrow, and we want to get the insights as journalists and as community builders to make sure that we connect the companies and the experienced people who can help each other, instead of only looking at things that are heaps and heaps away.
Yeah, I think you touch on a very important point, which is actually also confirmed by the audience. Because on the question, do you dare to share that you do not know exactly how to start contributing to the SDGs? People say yes, so it means that it's not easy to figure out where you have to start. And actually, this scan makes that available. So it's a kind of self-assessment, but therefore also a self-starter, which is really great and supported by the work of Change Inc. So why do you think it's important for companies to have this scan, and how does this help them further? You already elaborated that on that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I've been working in this field for many years, and what I always find remarkable is that whenever it comes to future topics or sustainability topics, everybody starts talking about the fact that it should have a business model. So they should have insights on what it costs and what it will give you. But on the other hand, companies were too little focused on becoming more sustainable phase by phase by phase. So that's why I think it's very important that you, on one hand, know per phase what steps you should take and what insights you should take into to take better decisions. So that's one thing. And on the other hand, what I really like and love is that you can use the scan to get insights from different functions or from within the company. So, for instance, from marketing, from facility management, from CSR management. So you can see how people from within the company look at the sustainability steps you have to take or you're taking. So it gives you rich insights, and it's interesting to learn from, for instance, Arcadis, who used the scan, I think, in a way like that to get the insights to.
Great bridge, Yuri. Thank you for that, because then we go to Elske indeed, because as you already shared, Yuri, the scan provides insights on the level of ambition, motivation, transition, alignment, and leadership within the company. So, and not only on those topics, but indeed also per department. So also for you, Elske, I can imagine that it is interesting to see how, for example, the Sustainable Development Goals are known and addressed in the different departments as well. And you indeed can start taking the little steps, as Katrien Termeer shared actually in the previous session, that it's important to have this ambition, but it starts with one single step at a time, and that can be different for each person and each department. So can you share a little bit more on what challenges you face at Arcadis if you look at the transition, the systemic challenges we are discussing today, and how the scan has helped you there to get more insights?
Yes, of course. So for people who don't know Arcadis is an engineering company with Dutch roots, and we exist around 130 years, and sustainability is really something that's in the core of our business. So I really like our logo. It's a small salamander, fire salamander, and the fire salamander is a symbol for a small animal that can only live there where the ecosystem is in balance, so both on the water as on the land. We rolled out the Better Business Scan about a year ago. And we are really happy with this scan because about 70 people fill it in, and it takes only, as you said, Yuri, about 15 minutes to fill it in, and it gave us really valuable results because I work in the sustainability department, and we have a sense of how people think and how people work, but this Better Business Scan really gave us documented insights on how people experience sustainability within our company. And there was a small gap between the intention and the realization. Also, I see within the company that our people are really ambitious when it comes to sustainability, but they were struggling on how to make it work, how to get it into the solutions we provide for clients. Because the way that we used to work was that there's a client, and the client asks us a question, and we answer that question as in the best technical possible way that we can. But now people want to offer technical solutions, but sometimes it's not in the question that the client asks us. So yeah, that was the biggest challenge that we faced, and that was also something that the output of the Better Business Scan showed us.
That's really great to hear, because I think making it a topic of discussion within an organization and sharing examples how other departments or how other colleagues are addressing it, it also inspires others to pick it up and to actually include it in the offer you bring to clients.
Yeah,
Rob, do you also see that with other companies who use the scan similar same? Because I can imagine that, you know, it is a dilemma for people to actually bring up the issues they have in relating to the SDGs.
Yes, the scan is built upon 20 years of research, and we bring it in a very simple format to define where you are, where you want to be. But of course, there is a perception bias there, because it's an individual person that fills out the scan, gets an individual feedback also where they think the company are. And of course, there's separate tools on functional areas of management. We call it span of control, leadership challenges, transition challenges, whatever. So you get a scan of your personal view. Then if you do like Arcadis has done with a number of managers in the same organization, you also get a spread of perceptions of this. So we also measure that for a report for the company, so completely also secret for audiences. And it brings in a number of questions. So first, there is some general consensus, then it's clear. Let's see where we are, where we want to go. But there are some points for discussion where, for instance, the marketing department is head and the purchasing department or the finance department, well, very often, like see the panel discussion we just had, is trailing behind. Sometimes for good reasons, by the way, for financial sustainability, sometimes for wrong reasons, mindsets. It's all over the place that we've been discussing that. And it helps to create also a platform on which you can then discuss perceptions, wrong perceptions, mindsets, and then figure out what a common strategy will be. One of the things that we found, we not only on the business scan, but actually on leadership research, is that actual leadership means know where you are, where you want to go, where your employees are, and then tend to link it to a business model, a purpose, it was also reiterated in the panel, a strategy that is feasible and not sort of in the clouds, as Yuri also said, idealistically speaking, and then also work together with teams on this. And for instance, the scan also provides, and maybe Elske can say that, sort of insights in who are the agents of change, who are the departments sort of laggards within the organization, without saying that in terms of individuals, but in terms of functional areas of management, which makes it easier, at least that's what we experience with other companies also, then to make the next step and to define the smart intervention logic, as we would call it. I hope Elske agrees, otherwise I have a problem.
Yeah, Elske, it would be great if you on that. And also, I think what Rob is saying, it was supported by Rob Metzger in the opening session of today, where he felt the 3 points which were most important in relations to realizing the SDGs within a business is through integrated decision making, a joint narrative, which of course the SDGs offer, and backcasting, envisioning the future, which I think is there as well. So Elske, can you react on Rob's remarks?
Yeah. So we saw two things. So the first challenge we had was getting our people to offer sustainable solutions to our clients, and to give them more tools for that. And the other was in our procurement, that we saw that we had to step up our game there. So the scan was about a year ago, and this year we implemented a new strategy, and both sustainability and digital are key in this strategy. And what we are doing now at this point is that for each of our advisory groups, within the company. So we have over 2,000 people working here. And everybody is in an advisory group, and each advisory group follows a strategy session. That's a 4-hour online session in which we get to work with a new strategy. And what we do there is that we are going to we work on a question of a client. In our case, a ProRail. That's one of our biggest clients. And we let the people work with a 6-step sustainability tool to come up with the best sustainable solution. So that way they get used on what practical steps can I take in offering a sustainable solution, and they can do it together. So they can also discuss on what they would find difficult. And what they would feel comfortable with. So that's one thing we did. And the other thing is that we also, with procurement, we made some steps in making better, like a questionnaire for the companies that we work with.
Yeah, cool. There's a good question, I think, a relevant question from the audience. Mimis Petrididis is asking this. I hope I pronounced your name correct. Is the Better Business Scan a tool that can be applied to companies of all sizes and all sectors? Because I think Arcadis is quite large, I would say. So maybe Torben, can you answer that question from your perspective?
Yes, of course. Yeah, definitely. We focus on all sectors and also all sizes, although because we have this focus on different functional areas of management, like marketing, finance, it's sometimes easier if a company has all these functions in clearly defined departments. But we always say, even as an individual, if you are self-employed, you still think about marketing and finance and purchasing. So maybe different heads, but still it's important to be aligned even within yourself. But so it's suitable for all sizes and sectors.
Great. Maybe indeed, Esther, you can elaborate on that, because you also have been using the scan with many other companies, as I understood. So can you maybe share your experience as Tosca using the Better Business Scan and how it supported you in your work, complementing on what Elske has been saying? Oh, you have to switch on your mic, else we don't hear you. Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. It's at the bottom of your screen, at the center, your microphone, or maybe it's used by some place. Yeah, perfect.
I found it. I'm sorry, it was a basic.
No problem. No problem.
Rob and I had been in contact for some time, and some of our clients, they were faced with the problem that they were working on integrating these challenges into their strategies. But once they had integrated them, they were saying, okay, but now how are we going to make sure that we really implement these ambitions? So they were really aware that this is the biggest challenge to come from the intention to the realization. And for us as consultants, a main argument is that this scan is scientifically, science-based, so to say. And of course, there's a lot of scans in the market, but we were really looking for something that was grounded in science. And also, what I find particularly good is that there's different maturity levels. So the scan helps you to take a picture of where you currently are, and also what is your ambition, and where you are and what your ambition is. That defines the path you have, like a real journey. If you go from Amsterdam to Rotterdam, you plan a different journey than when you're starting in Eindhoven and you want to go to Groningen. So this research of Rob and others, it has also shown that interventions, strategies are more effective in certain phases. So something we use, and I think that's particularly relevant for companies. Is that this helps them to select the most effective interventions to realize their ambitions. And in a time that we're faced with all kinds of challenges and resources are scarce, your financial resources and your people are also scarce, it's particularly crucial to do this in an effective way. And I think the scan can help with with making this this picture in a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate? How do you mean phases? Phases of maturity with regards between the different departments, or as a company as a whole? Just to clarify.
Yeah, it's what Torben just mentioned. Companies start in inactive, and then they go to reactive, and they take a particular route. Well, there's different routes, and Torben just mentioned, for example, the capability route. And if you're on the capability route, there's other interventions, other strategies to take. Then when you're already in, well, for example, if you're in external alignment phase and you've already been working on sustainability,
then you might be more interested in having partnerships with others to increase your impact in the value chain.
or maybe even with partners from other sectors.
Yeah. If some people missed what you were saying, it's very nicely explained on the website. There's different phases, because indeed, it's nice how the suggestions that come out of the report really are adapted to the phase you are in as an organization, indeed. Is there anyone who likes to add on what Esther has been saying from your perspective as Change Inc. or Arcades, or Rob, do you want to elaborate on it? Because of course for you, I think it's great that now there's this English website, so we get even more input from organizations around the globe, and at least the language also for international and oriented companies, which are also, of course, based in the Netherlands, with people with other languages. It is available for everyone now. How does that help your research further?
Maybe short. One of the things, and Yuri already referred to this, we are a university, so it's public money going into research. And that is important, and we want to share it with as many as possible people. And there's a problem. Maybe you also listen to Meta Marketing. We quoted that we are in the science area, where we then go for triple-star publications. Nobody reads, and take 5 years to get published. And so there's a big disjoint between the university, the business school, and the actual practice. So that's one. This is what the tool, and we're really happy also with the collaboration with Change Inc., because then we created the platform, and we both invested in this. Now, the challenge is not then to have the platform and share it with everyone. Of course, we want on a global scale. That's why the English version is so important. And maybe we do a Spanish one. I talked with Yuri on the Czech Republic or Czech language or German scale, but English is, of course, the lingua franca of business at the moment. So we are really happy to have that already developed. However, that's not enough. So open source and open access for us means also to open up to society and also to make this available. And this is one of the things that I like about Elske, but also about Ulrike, Esther, and Gianna, you as well. You look at change agents, you look at ambassadors, you look at people within organizations, we call it intrapreneurs, that also use the scan to develop further. And this is the next stage we also really want to support. Not just as a research project where we publish about, say, 10 years from now and criticize everyone for going too slow. It is our ambition and our motto also, a force for positive change, as our dean also says, to also help each other. So one way or another, we are going to do that, if you like it or not. Hopefully you like it, and then we can develop, and we call that co-learning. I do it with Phil, by the way, with Robert Metzger. I do it with Unilever, with big companies, but we also do it with smaller and medium-sized enterprises. The scan is one tool. The next stage is, of course, a sort of joint learning development project. And of course, as a university, we want to also share that information in a more or less neutralized form to the rest of the world. And that's something, for instance, which we discussed with Julie, then bring it to the journalists and then to share it with others to get inspired. But for the moment, this is the next step we also want to do. And that's why this breakout is so important for us as well.
Yeah, and I think to add, oh, please, Yuri, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe I can add words, Gianna, because what I find very interesting, and we're now working on that, is that we can use the insights of the scans that are filled in to connect people and change agents from within those companies who filled it in, to connect them outside the boundaries of their own companies to get more experience, more power, and more power as well to start speeding up the pace. And I think that's what I found interesting, is that you mobilize the crowd and you learn from each other while working on the challenges and the barriers that come out of the scan.
Yeah, I think you touch upon a very valid point, Yuri, because it's not only about driving systems change, it's about accelerating. And actually the solutions are there. People just have to find each other, and not only within their own business community and their own supply chain, but actually across businesses. They can strengthen each other, and therefore we can accelerate the transition and bridge the gap even quicker. Ulrike had to actually accelerate. Of course, it's a self-starter, it's a self-assessment, and companies can go ahead. But in case companies do want to have some guidance, you developed a program, as I understood, as Tosca, built upon the Better Business Scan as well. Can you share a little bit what you did also for other people to think about it?
Yes, happy to do so. So together with Tosca and Rob and Tobin, we developed a 12-month program. And actually, because we see that companies, we have also heard in this conference, they have embraced the SDGs, but they still struggle to integrate them into their strategies and business models. And it's intentions, because everybody is extremely positive, but it proves to be, as Rob also mentioned, very difficult to implement them. So in the program, which we set up together in collaboration, insights, knowledge, but also tools that the companies need to define, implement SDG ambitions. Last 12 months, we worked within that program with what we call the Accelerator team. Very important, exists of an ambassador and change agent. So the ambassador is the sponsor at executive level, which is important for the buy-in, but then also the 5 change agents, which actually will lead the change within the organization. That's all the work we do within the 12 months. Also after the program, let's say, stops, it will continue also within the organizations. The Better Business Scan, very important, has been discussed in the session quite a lot, will be actually of this 12-month program, which we applied twice. In the very beginning of the program, we apply the Better Scan, and then also 6 months after the program, we go back to the company again and implement the second time the Better Business Scan, because we also want to and show the progress that we have achieved the journey together with companies. The program also has 2 parts. There's one part that also is the learn and share track, where Rob, of course, has a major role to play to really give all the training, the tools, which is needed for the companies to apply, or the skills. We also have then a share and learn track where the companies actually apply for their own organization, come back, present it back, get feedback of all the other participating companies and from us. So that is the learn. And then we also have a second part, which is track, where actually we as Tosca also, but also of course with RSM, with Torben and Rob, where we work with the companies better business get a starting point on a transformation plan, so that we really have a tailored plan for those companies, let's say, to really take in their sustainability journey. Yeah, a lot of topics we will discuss. I'm sure, Rob, feel free to elaborate. We will talk about system thinking, sustainable business case, the business models, how to embed sustainability in the culture, and much more. And each of the prizes really hands-on pragmatic tools, which companies we will actually apply together throughout the journey. Yeah, so it's a bit in a nutshell. And at the end, hopefully with the measurement, we will celebrate the success and also get a certificate, let's say, to also have a formal recognition of that 12-month program.
I really appreciate to share what you have been building upon the Better Business Scan together with Rob and Torben. Because as Yuri also emphasized, the cool thing is that the tool is available for everyone, free of charge. So it's an option to work with you on that further, but you can also do it yourself. The same with for the company scan, which has been developed together with Change Inc. You can get the feedback for your company, which will be compiled by our RSM, but you also have the opportunity to have a kind of more kickstart introduction with results dedicated to the outcome of the report, whether it's on the ambition level or motivation or the transition or the alignment and leadership topics. So if you'd like to know more about those options from both Tosca and RSM, feel free to go to the expo after this session where there is a booth where both Torben, Ulrike, Esther and myself will be available to answer your questions, and Rob will pop in and out as well. I think for this moment, I really would like to thank all our panelists. Elske, for sharing how you have been actually working on accelerating and driving system change within your organization, and how you actually have used the outcomes to support your sales colleagues and procurement, thank you, to actually find their way in contributing to the SDGs. Yuri, really great that you have been facilitating all the way since from the beginning with Change Inc. And before it was called Duurzaam Bedrijfsleven, in case there might be someone who doesn't know the name Change Inc. yet. I can't imagine, because of course it's a really great name, because this is what we need. We need to change. We need to drive change, but we also need to change and be a force for good as businesses, as we heard today. Ulrike and Esther, thanks for sharing your experience with other organizations and how you have been developing together with Torben and Rob a possible follow-up. And before everyone leaves, don't leave yet, because there's a great teaser on tomorrow's topic, which is all about the leadership challenge. So just hang around with us for another 2 minutes, and feel free to look us up at the expo in the booths around the Better Business Scan. Yuri, it looks like you want to say some last words before we go to the.
Well, well, I just realized, being in this session, that it's quite remarkable, I must say, that there's now a scan with the life's work and the sweat of Rob and his team that is available for free, and everybody can use it to make sure that the future is better than what we when we started it. So that's what I noticed just now.
There's a lot of sweat in it, but it doesn't smell, so it's great. Jeanne, let me just thank you also for moderating this session. So I really appreciate it. Of course, Jeanne has been the CSR Manager of the year 2018. So this is undisputed a leadership role that she takes here. So let's see whether we can make that work also, Gianne. We're all committed to impact and speeding up pace.
Absolutely.
So we need each other there. So I recognize you. Thank you very much, Gianne.
Well, my pleasure. Let's have a look at the video for tomorrow's challenge. Not the transition challenge, but the leadership challenge. We are relying on Timo for that, so I can't help out here. And thank you all for listening in and for your positive feedback and for your contribution to this discussion. So once again, thank you all.